Everybody, welcome to another edition of the New Era podcast. I'm here. I'm your co-host up to Dave. I'm here with my other co-host, Tom Brady. We have returning guest, Franco, aka Burrito Voorhees, aka King Jr. should be joining us momentarily. Um, I do want to get started because I think we have a lot of stuff to talk about. And usually, I like to I like to ask questions and I want people to respond, but I'm afraid I may have to go on a little bit of a soliloquy here. Um, a couple of weeks ago, I don't know, maybe like a week and a half ago, I called Tom Brady. I'm like, it was a private conversation on the phone, and I'm like, dude, you got to stop with this. I think this patch, there might be some potential.
Sub-Zero
People
wins
are complaining, but you're
fatality.
complaining. This is not leading anywhere. It's not doing anything good. It's just, constant negativity. It's the main reason why Crimson left the show. We got to do something else, maybe talk about Tekken or talk about Street Fighter or, whatever, except, you know, talking about nonstop about MK1 and NRS in a negative manner. So the patch comes out and it's just so underwhelming that it, I'm trying to defend NRS because there are players who now work for them that I at one point or another used to consider my friends or like friendly rivals, and I don't just want to be trashing them. I don't think it's fair. However, it's it's just difficult to defend the game at this point. And today, I think there was a the Pro Comp Tour in Brazil, if I'm not mistaken. 69 players signed up. The views were okay-ish. Nothing spectacular, at least not in comparison to Street Fighter and Tekken. Um, I'm I feel like I'm like stuck in a loop, and it's like a dilemma. Like, what do we go from here? Because I, I feel like the reason the patch was so underwhelming is because probably because they're already working on the next project, and maybe this game has, they're gonna toss out the rest of the DLCs, maybe do a smaller season pack. Maybe you'll get your expansion pack, and that's probably going to be the game. I don't think we're going to be seeing, as Tom calls it, an overhaul, a power boost. I don't think that's ever going to happen. If you want that to happen and you want to play fighting games, you already know which games to play. That's kind of where I'm at. Tom, take it away. And if I'm right, tell me. If I'm wrong, please tell me as well.
This patch, I think, answered every question that anyone has ever asked. And I think, including ones that even a guy that I do videos with as well, Mike Hollow, uh, has talked about before. So, normally, we would expect nothing out of this combat cast. But Tekken, I felt, did put a little bit of pressure on them to do things a little different, especially with Tekken Talk. And so the combat cast was extremely underwhelming, and the patch was even less underwhelming. I don't think it's possible for people to do any less than what NetherRealm is doing. And this is not a Warner Brothers fault. The community has blamed Warner Brothers forever because they never want to put the blame where it belongs. NetherRealm. Because unfortunately, your content creators are just as money hungry for your money to shill the game so that you keep watching as NRS is for your money. It's just a system in which everybody has a hand in the pocket, unfortunately. And I don't mean to speak bad about these people, but they don't make the problem any better by trying to spread constant positivity or create a false picture that the game is more alive than ever, or how sick the competition is here in Brazil, and how all these people are coming out. You had 69 people for a pro tournament for $10,000. Let me give you the real sad truth here. If NRS was ever going to make a move, they were going to make a move here. The fact that they did not means they are just not going to make one. What they did was, besides even the combat cast that was nothing, you released a patch in which, balance-wise, you did absolutely nothing besides a small tweak to Kenshi, which was pretty much irrelevant in the grand scheme of the game. Then you put in crossplay. Your offline tournament scene is basically dead. You've had several tournaments offline already, most of them Pro Series events, and I did the research. NRS has had more money on the line than pretty much any other game at the tournaments that they have been at. So they are amongst the top or the highest payout in in all the tournaments that they've been at offline. And yet they're pulling at their first tournament ever 300, which is laughable for a Pro Series tournament and the first tournament of the game. That is disgraceful. UFA in the EU, not even 200 people, $10,000. They're the highest payout of that entire tournament. $10,000 in the line here. Only 69 people show up. You could have put $500 on the line and Tekken, and you would have 500 people show up. Like this is so the offline tournament scene is dead. And with that being said, it was very important for NetherRealm to really at least keep the online tournament scene going. You have people who've been on PC and Xbox who have yet to play a single tournament league because they're all PS5, and they completely alienated all of them. Crossplay was not implemented properly. The season was completely bootleg. They just did not feel like doing any work at all, despite the long Combat League season, so they didn't make any Molina-type skins. Instead, they just threw in Havoc skins for the Season of Chaos and just threw in Titan Molina and masked it as the Season of the Huntress. Then, on the Combat Cast, knowing full well what they had done, tried to explain it away as they're not Tarkatan-type creatures, but they're flesh pit hybrids with scars, and it was all bullshit. They knew exactly what they were doing, and they just think you guys are stupid, and they treat you like idiots. And then the new character, Peacemaker, 80% of his animations are reused assets. So your Combat League season / invasions are skins that were made before the game even came out. How do I know that? This is why DLCs don't have skins. These skins were made before the game was launched and ready to roll out long before you even got the game. The DLC characters didn't exist, hence there are no DLC skins. So they just rolled out old content, while on the Combat Cast, Derek saying the artist really nailed it. The artist did nothing. No one did a single stitch of work at all. 0.0. They nailed nothing. So you got old Combat League skins that were designed months ago. You got old reused assets with a Peacemaker skin, pretty much. You got crossplay not implemented properly, and a Combat Cast in which they had no idea what the hell they were talking about absolutely anything. Grazed past that little snafu about we didn't do crossplay all the way, and gave you some garbage about a Combat League invasion season that wasn't even the case. I mean, like, all of it's bad. All of it's bad. What this tells you is they're done with the game. They're done. They are going to. I mean, look at the skins even for purchase. It looked like a child made these skins in Windows Paint. It looks like a kid made them. The modders made better classic skins than NetherRealm. They don't care. They don't care. Let's slap it together quick, slap it together with no time or effort, sell it for what we can, move on. Even if they're actually going to get, I don't know how many DLCs that they're going to get. I heard True Underdog saying that Data Mine, you're going to have 14, 20 DLC characters. Those characters are going to be simple. They're going to be bland. I mean, whether they're good or not doesn't mean they're not simple and still bland. Two things can be true. A character can be very powerful, but still be extremely simple and still be bland. I mean, Peacemaker didn't breathe any life back into the game. I did a video where I showed the numbers. MK with the Peacemaker spike didn't even have 1,000 viewers, while Street Fighter and Tekken were still over 18K, and this is at 9 p.m. prime time. I looked up the numbers today. During the Pro Series tournament, YouTube had 725, Twitch had 2.1, I believe, K. So 3K viewers for a Pro Series tournament, and that was like middle of the afternoon, like prime time for this tournament hour. Tekken and Street Fighter all had over 18K strong. Like, if Tekken had a major tournament going on today, they would have like 50K viewers. I mean, they're done. They're done. Nobody cares. We've already seen now no one character is going to save the game. That's been proven with Peacemaker. They are just going to pump out DLC, make as much money as they can, maybe make a story expansion, and then they're going to move on to the next game. And my good friend Mike Hollow is going to make a video about what he'd likes to see in the next Mortal Kombat game. But I will tell you why Mortal Kombat will never be advanced. I will tell you why Mortal Kombat never implements things like, true counter hits or other type of things that other games actually have, or tries to rework their system a little bit to be more modern. They simply don't have the time. We already know right now there is a fully functioning tag mode built into the code. It's been data mined. This game is not tag mode because they didn't complete it because they didn't have the time. It took them so long to get all the characters redone from scratch. They couldn't make it that they didn't have enough time. It probably started out as tag, but by the time they got all the moves and everything in, now you got 5 months before the game was going to get launched. They don't have time, so we'll make it cameo. Now you only have a few months. How the cameo is going to play, how's the game going to play, and then you have like 1 month to do the rest of the content in the netcode. This is never going to change. Until they stop stripping their game down and rebuilding it from scratch, they're done. You will always get a garbage product. You will never get an advanced product. NetherRealm does not realize the simplistic gameplay they worked on for years, it's over. The standard has changed. The standard has changed. You are no longer, they're just clueless. So, all of you shills out there who think you're helping the game by being positive, all you're doing is enabling NetherRealm to do this over and over and over again. And it's not about, Tom, don't you ever get tired of complaining? I do. But don't you guys ever get tired of allowing them to get away with this garbage every single time? In MK11, it was a fight. People say now, and Dave, you were here for this, everybody crapped on the game. But Dave, you remember there was a time when it was a fight where people were trying to be positive because we all know the next game is going to be real good. So we got to build the scene. This is why this game came out like garbage. It sold 15 million copies because you guys were going to be oh so positive. You can't build a scene when the product is this garbage. MK may be able to obtain on shock factor, but it can never retain. I've said this for years. You guys have laughed at me. In the end, being right's a bitch, I guess.
Well, let me say this before I give Franco the floor. The content creator topic, I think, I agree with you overall, but I think it might be slightly more nuanced. I've never seen so many videos in my life, whether it's Mortal Kombat or Tekken or Street Fighter. Is Ed broken? Is June the most broken character Tekken history? Like, really? Like, are you guys really that stupid for that type of stuff? Like, and you really want to take those videos seriously? Is Peacemaker the best combo character ever? Like,
I know, but I understand that. You can do that. You can do that to make your content for views. I understand that, the shock factor. They got to make money. But they can also do two things. You can make shock factor videos like, look at this 90% combo for Peacemaker, but also be adamant like, this game is trash. Stop trying to say it's super fun. What's just my opinion? No, it's not. No, it's not. There's nothing redeemable about this game. No one can possibly look at this patch and say, hey, this shows that there's some hope. It's a blatant lie. It's a bold-faced lie. Trying to show the game is on the uptick is a bold-faced lie. Blaming Warner Brothers for not putting in more money is just shifting blame. You can make this character this without trying to say they've saved the game is fixed. That's all garbage. I don't understand the strong movement to change the word of mouth. If Tekken was garbage, people would still make their look at these big combos, best character ever, but they would say the game was garbage still. They would bury it. People buried Street Fighter V. Still made is this best character ever? They buried it until Capcom overhauled it. But they buried it. NRS
Yeah.
content creators, maybe
Well,
this is
it's not.
NRS's fault too, because NRS, unlike any other company, has established the thing. If you say any criticism with us at all, you are done for life. And these guys depend on that for their livelihood. Terrible idea for a studio, also. You basically blackmail people to not giving their real opinion or they're done. You have to shill our game. It's like, what company is not even open to feedback? How can they get any better if they are refusing to acknowledge feedback and don't let other people who have a bigger audience give any unless it is, this is the best thing ever? That is what I'm talking about. And all these
Well,
people out there, sack up. Grow some fucking balls. Get your head out of their ass and tell the truth. Because your shilling makes this game shit for all of us.
let me say this. I- there's so much stuff I want to say bad about Mayman Sui, who's the, if you guys don't know, he's a primary content creator. But he
I like
does.
Main Man Sui.
Well, I have my disagreements, and I was going to mention him on this podcast because I think somebody does need to call out his whining about the constant power levels in fucking Tekken. But I'll save that for later. I do like him as well because he calls it the way he sees it, at least from his opinion. And he's very strong. He'll call out Harada, and guess what? The guy still gets a early copy of the game. We know he did because he talks about it.
Because Namco favors feedback. They want to know what can they do to make their game better. At the end of the
And
day,
that's fair. But I think you and I have said our piece. I want to let Franco jump in. Franco, give us your opinion of the patch. And I know you have tested Quan Chi probably more than any of us. We would like to know your opinion. Were the buffs relevant? And if so, please comment.
I haven't used Peacemaker at all yet, but yeah, like Quan Chi, um, the Bone Cage, I think is the biggest change. You can actually stop them from moving for a little bit. Like you do your knockdown, and then you do the cage, and then they're in the cage, and they have to like decide whether to jump or not. And if you know they're gonna jump, you can do like the overhead projectile and like set up the situation against. So it's kind of cool. It's helpful, but he still has his existing weaknesses before, like the worst pokes in the game or down one, horrible armor, horrible defense, the gaps like all around. A
When
lot of
you
people
play
think his.
when you play like a cage play in Rag, does it feel better or is it still like why am I even playing this character?
I actually didn't play. I don't think I played a single cage on
Well, it
my
doesn't have to
run.
be cage, maybe
But
Raiden.
I. But yeah, there's still like bad. I'm sure there's still bad matchups. Like I know some like Pig thinks like his new hot take is Quan's top 10, and his reasoning was because the orange portal can like drop him out of combos like Sorcerer Quan from MKX, but like that situation's really situational, and you can only summon that portal like before you get opened up, so you can't like summon the portal obviously as you're being comboed. So like in the regular portal only lasts like I think maybe 3 seconds, 4 seconds. So yeah, I think Quan's still low tier, but he did get some helpful stuff. Just he still needs more, in my opinion. Even though I know that might be early for a lot of people to have an opinion already on the character.
What about the patch overall? Do you have any comments?
I kind of wish like they kind of put themselves in a crappy spot, in my opinion, because assuming they knew when the date was going to be for the Brazil tournament, they should have scheduled the patch to be after the tournament. But I don't know when the date was finalized for Brazil. I didn't pay attention enough, but I actually looked on WB's website and it still says to be determined. So they didn't even update that shit, which is hilarious. But in my opinion, they should have dropped the patch, assuming they knew when the date was going to be for the Brazil tournament, because obviously you don't want to patch the game before a tournament. It's just stops or it harms competitive integrity. And since they dropped it before the tournament, uh, they did very minor things. And now the next patch probably won't drop until like after Combo Breaker, if I had to guess, and that's a really long wait.
What do you think
So,
about? I want to run this by you as well. Do you think the content creators for this game, and I understand people are not comfortable mentioning names, and that's fine. I'm not going to ask you to, but do you think people have been soft on this game, or have they been fair, or maybe they have been extensively negative? How do you perceive, uh, the past and current situation?
um, I've watched probably like two or three different content creators' opinions. Um, I think like Tom already mentioned Mike Hollow. I started watching Mike Hollow because I watched Tom's videos, and like I usually agree with Tom like as far as um, like we have similar thoughts on increasing the power level and how certain things they need to go back to the basics and like start fresh, but like not make every MK game like a brand new game. Like, since they only have that short life cycle from WB, they just don't have enough time to polish these games that they've been making, as we can see now. Um, so, like, I agree with Tom in those aspects. Mike Hollow kind of says a similar thing. Seems like from what I watched. Um, True Underdog, I saw a few of his videos, but I don't really like his titles too much because they're very clickbaity, and I think they uh, kind of they're like clickbaity in a bad way. I don't know. I think it kind of gives like a false perception of the actual situation sometimes, um, and it's not like it's for the worse in my opinion. Like so, I don't know if I necessarily agree with a lot of his opinions on the current state of the game. And then Super, I think I watched one of his videos, not too many, and yeah, those are the people I watched recently.
I haven't done this in a while, but maybe now is a good time. We're gonna do a fool of the week and a hero of the week. And obviously, the fool of the week has to be True Underdog. What a I'm old now. I need to be careful how I choose my language, but absolutely worthless channel for MK. In my humble opinion, uh, plays games with data. Like you mentioned, the clickbait titles are a joke. Um, the guides, you can find better guides anywhere, even from a homeless person in the streets of LA. Absolutely useless channel. Somebody who has earned my respect, and I'm dubious and doubtful about everybody, is in fact Mike Hollow. Very fact based, doesn't overreact, doesn't ever raise his voice, is super respectful while articulating his points, in my opinion, in a fair and concise manner. And I enjoyed. Obviously, I think Tom's best videos have been with him because I think it's very informative, and I think he presents a very accurate view of the current situation in our NRS community. So I want to give him a prop. So he's the hero of the week. But something that I want to transition to, and I know we have talked about this before, and I do kind of want to call out Tom on this, and I would like to hear a response. This power level thing. So speaking of Mayman Sui, and it's just not Mayman Sui, many some other content, especially in the Tekken community, because the power level of that game, Tom is right, is very, very high. It is very, very high. But the constant crying about nerfs, especially for Ling. Guys, Ling is this Chinese, like literally middle school, almost looks like a middle school girl. Like she's like the MK9 Melina on steroids. Like, she will just low profile everything. She has a stance where she literally like ducks down and can even duck down while she's ducking down. It will literally move everything. Look, when I play rank and I play that character, I just like want to run into a wall. I want to fucking run into a wall like have a nosebleed. But at the same time, I'm not going to argue for nerfs because my characters also have it well. So the problem with like demanding higher power levels is the complaining is nonstop. Even from some of the high level, Knee is crying about Ling now. Like, really? Knee? And Mainman Sui, who's been playing Tekken like for as long as I have, I think we're about the same age. Oh my god! June, Link, what am I gonna Dragon? I'll nerf them all. Like, why do you want to play a game where everything is nerfed? I just don't understand. It's just I wish they would come out. You know what? I'm biased. I have this character. I want him to suck, which is okay. Fine. All right. Whatever. That's where you stand. But it's like, why do you want to play a game like where it's MK1? Where it's like, I mean, MK11 rather. Where it's like, yeah, it's super super boring. 5 characters are good. Everybody else is complete ass. Why do you want to play a game like that, Tom? You know that people cannot handle this type of stuff, and you've been the one advocating for this. How do you explain this, defend this? Go ahead, please.
I explained it behind. So I know my listeners think I'm an idiot and don't know anything about fighting games, but Ling has AOP and ducking AOP. She's always had this.
Yeah, correct,
The
correct.
difference is it seems to be a little more low profiling now. Like you can hit him with Kazuya low and then do while standing 4 after hitting her, and she'll still AOP under it. Go right into ducking AOP. So it's like she was hit, disadvantage, while standing 4 out of my crouching state, and she still. Her going under mids has been, she went under Jin's laser scraper and T4. I mean, that's
Right.
always been a thing. We didn't. I'm not sure. It's a couple of things. I think one, I think people. It is human nature to try to get things molded to what you like. And there was a time when you just knew it was never going to happen. But now, because of social media and public outcry, you can literally force the hand of anyone to do anything. Public outcry is significantly more powerful than people would give it credit for. When it comes to AOP, maybe there's something there. Tekken has also used to have, well, like a Bruce in Tekken 6, for example, where like his back 2 would bust her up no matter where she was, right? It'll hit you on the ground, it'll counter hit for GGs. There is no like scrubby pick against the Ling in this game like there's been in the past. So not only is AOP better now, but there's no scrubby pick against Ling like there has been. So I can see it being and she's always been irritating. Maybe there's something there with ducking AOP. Maybe it is a little more evasive than normal. Maybe they can look at that. But besides that, I don't really see too much crying about the power besides something like that. Like people always say, oh, this character is broken, that character is broken. But I think people misunderstand just general human frustration. One of the fun things about fighting games is we all complain. We all complain. Even the great Sonic Fox complains. But we don't complain because we're actually like advocating for or against something to get done. We complain like in the NBA when like it's frustrating and you're like, that's not a foul or he's fouling me. You're not advocating for the NBA to get rid of fouls or to not call them on you anymore. You're just frustrated. The fighting game world would say, see that? He doesn't want fouls in the NBA. See him complaining? Like the FGC is just... It's like Simon Phoenix when he came back in Demolition Man. He's like, now the world is just a real bitch version of itself. That's just kind of how it is with fighting games. Like, if you even give a statement about something, it's a rant, an angry rant. If you you're frustrated because you're a human and fighting games are frustrating and you just say, man, that's stupid. You're complaining and crying for nerfs. They overdo everything. And then you have actual scrubs who are trash, who are looking to cling to anybody, say anything. You see that? Even this guy was complaining. See, even he said, and then all of a sudden, someone who's just being frustrated is now crying for nerfs. We tend to mold what people say and do or whatever to fit our narrative. It's just what the social media thing is to do. Social media has made it 10 times worse. I think people need to realize what is actually crying and asking for a nerf and what's just complaining because it's frustrating and pisses us off. And the reason why, and no matter how much somebody complains about something is quote unquote broken, if you take that away from them and make a bland game, you will really see some complaining. It's kind of like people don't want. I look at it like the best argument I ever heard was there's, you remember Street Fighter 2 Rainbow Edition. It's a hacked ROM. It's super broken, right? You can do any move in the air, change characters mid-fight. It's broken. But if you were to release a Street Fighter 2 No Moves Edition and there are no specials and only normals, it would be the most balanced Street Fighter ever made. Nobody would want to play. They'd all want to play Rainbow instead. The most broken ever made, right? People, we get frustrated, but we play and we like power because we want to use it. And at the end of the day, we want to overcome it. Yes, we'll complain. We'll bitch about it. We'll moan about it. But that's just because we're humans. And I think people need to really, and social media has really done a grave injustice to this and you know, made it seem like people don't want certain things. But Mortal Kombat is living proof that people don't want that taken out of a game. They may say, oh, this and that, and take this out, and maybe there is something like Ling AOP. I'm not trying to say that's okay the way it is in its current form. But, you know, people get frustrated. And it doesn't mean people are crying. It doesn't mean to take it out. NetherRealm Studios is living proof of a studio who thought people didn't want to deal with something, and they were wrong. So I just think it's just the natural course of things. I don't really think it's that people don't want to deal with it. I just think it gets compounded to be something it's not, in most cases, not all.
I mean, I just beg to differ because I'm not talking about one or two instances of somebody making a video. I'm talking about a history of bitching and asking for certain perspective of a fighting game to be played in a specific way, and it's almost all nerves. I mean, you guys remember when Leroy was released, right, in Tekken 7 initially? Incredibly broken. Nobody would ever um, defend that because we saw the results. Like, what was it? It's like that Tanya
Well, in
scenario.
NetherRealm games, they would defend it all the time and just say people don't know how to fight them, even though
Come
it's
on, man. Like,
obvious.
come on, dude. Nobody defended Tanya and MKX just like nobody defended
MIT
Leroy.
defended her every day, said she just knew. No one knows how to fight
Yeah,
her.
okay. I'm sure. So, yeah, the people who are winning, they are defending those type of characters. But let's be serious here. Like, the vast majority of players were never defending those characters. We knew Tanya was broken in release. Tekken players knew that Reloy was broken on release. But after Leroy's literally like 50 nerfs, where it was like, you know what? He's a top tier character, but more like, I don't know, maybe like low top tier. This is fine. They were still crying. Maybe it's this is what he was doing. The every time he is like as bad as true underdog when it comes to like balancing balancing opinions. Like just horrendous channel. Everything else is great. Like when he plays the game, it's great. He's a great Kazuya player. I like watching him. He makes good guides. Everything else is fine. But the moment he opens his mouth about balance, 9 out of 10 times it will be complaining about something. Like, dude, you have 200, like what, almost 300
Okay, but
subscribers.
we see the fact here. The fact is, people will cry if things are strong. People will cry if there's no power at all. The difference is, people will stay if there's power. They will complain and then leave if there is not. So the answer is not to remove it. Because even if they complain about it, they still stay around to play it. And I promise you, if you gave anyone of the option to take all the power out of Tekken, they would say no.
Look, fair enough, and I hope you're right. But let Franco jump in. Franco, I don't want to say play because we didn't play against each other, but you had a chance to play Tekken 8 for the first time when you listened last week. What was your initial thoughts? Were you confused? Did you like the way it felt? What did you feel like? Because you tried King. I know that you want to play a grappler. What did you think? I'm really curious what you have to say.
I mean, it was a very short like practice session, but yeah, the amount of learning I have to do is a lot too. But it was cool. All the like those like just you verbally telling me the inputs was like confusing me at first because they're not as simple as just left, right, square, or down, back, triangle. Like for example, or pretty cool feature. Something like if you was
Hold on. You
Yeah,
were
hold
you
on.
were
You're roboting.
Franco.
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 perfect inputs
Franco.
where they
Franco.
I don't have
Franco.
Franco.
Franco, you gotta stop. You literally sound like you're underwater.
Yeah.
I don't know what the chat
You
is
got
saying, but they must
robot voice.
be. Franco, you gotta. I don't know. You have to maybe try maybe leaving and coming back because that was difficult to listen to.
Yeah,
Oh my
let him leave
god,
and
what
come
was
back.
that? Oh my goodness. Yeah, try leaving the call and then rejoining because that was bad. Tom, what's the chat saying?
I don't really know. If I read the chat, they're probably blowing me up like usual. I don't really want to read what they have to say. Probably not good. Yeah, it was a robot voice.
Franco, can
Yeah,
you say something?
I
Franco?
there he
Yeah,
is.
no, it sounds good. Yeah, can you read? Because that was a mess. Like, I don't know what that was. That was bad.
man, I'm kind of scared to hear it if Tom posts it.
No, it's all right.
No,
It's
it's all
only
right. Yeah,
short.
just go ahead. Yeah, it's fine now. It's fine. You sound normal now.
Um, I don't know where I started losing you guys, but
You were
yeah,
talking
it's
about the
pretty much.
complicated. Yeah, you were talking about the complicated inputs and how that kind of threw you off, and you have to put a lot of work, and that's when the mess started happening.
Yeah, I only learned that one combo you showed me off the knee launcher, but it was still a fun combo to do. I got to learn how to fight against the roster still, but yeah, definitely. It's fun so far. I'm liking it. I still got to buy it. I actually dedicated like most of today to play Invasions. As much as I don't enjoy Invasions, they did make it easier to level up your characters in the game, so that's why I chose to do that. It was not that fun, but I do plan to buy Tekken soon and start playing it in
Tell us,
hopes to make.
tell us about King, which is by the way another character that Maybe was crying about, but that's another, that's already said and done with. Did you like the way he played? Like, did you like the throw system? Like, what did you think? Like, did you feel like, yeah, I actually play a grappler? Like, or did you feel like, oh, this is kind of weird? What did you think?
I wish I had more untechable command grabs. Nah, but yeah, there was just a bunch of different throws. Like instead of just having one main command grab, he has like a bunch. Like he has a running throw. He has that like the running knee and the I don't know what the wrestler term is for it, but the one where he's in that running stance and grabs you,
The
or he could
Shining
do the
Wizard.
elbow instead.
Shining Wizard. Will they hit you with the knee?
Um, no,
Okay,
no,
well,
the other one. The one that's like a 50-50 off that running stance. He either does the elbow
Of heat.
or he does that.
oh, the RKO, okay, the Diamond Cutter. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, that.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he has like the 1 and 2 like throws or whatever they're called, like the
Mm-hmm.
I forgot the inputs, but yeah, there's just a bunch of different thrower animations, and it's cool. Instead of having one main command grab like most grapplers in other games, and
You
like
gotta appreciate.
some of his throws have layers too, like the mind games. Like you have the death cradle, or you have the less damaging ones that people usually they have obviously usually tech the death cradle because they don't want to lose half their life.
Yeah. Tom, I know you're having fun with this terminology. The running. Sorry, Frank. It's
No, it's
gonna
okay. Yeah, it's just
No,
he.
yeah,
It's
I
he.
don't
I
know
know, I
none of
know, I know.
I before
No, it's
Tekken
fine.
8, I
Frank was the
literally
kind of guy
No,
who's
I knew what he
obviously
was trying
never
to
seen
say.
a wrestling match in his life. Like, the move where he, like, I don't know, jumps or something.
No, I knew what he was
Like,
trying to
bro,
say. Yeah.
RKO, I know. It's just funny to me, like, because, like, people know, like, RKO, like,
yeah,
stuff.
I never
I
really
watch,
watched wrestling
yeah,
too much. I don't know. I was never really into watching big sweaty men and cringy like fucking stage acts, but
yeah.
uh,
No, I get you. Yeah, it's not personal. I just thought it was funny the way you articulated the way you described the moves. It was hilarious. Um, but do you feel like the system has more depth than something you would play in MK1?
I mean, I can see the depth behind it for sure. Um, I mean, I'm not gonna make it my number one game, but it's definitely fun. And I can see why people love it.
You
Like
think?
uh,
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
like I wouldn't make it my main game because I know it's like a legacy game, and I'm like 30 years behind compared to some people. But um, yeah, it's like it's just a cool game to be able to play. Like with like I don't know, maybe I'll eventually play enough to the point where hopefully I can maybe get a game once in a blue moon off like U or D or something. That's like my goal is just to be like um, maybe get a win off one of you guys once in a while.
Not just MK1, but the game in general. Do you think they can maybe borrow some of the certain aspects of this game? And if so, what would they? There's a lot of the complaints, like was Tom. I don't, you joined a little bit late, but MK1, even if you like the game, right? And some people do, which is fair enough. But like, what does the cameo system do? With Kung Lao, you literally just make one move over and over again, as a cameo, right? Um, Kano with Raiden, you're using like two things, right? Um, it's very simple. It's almost, dare I say, brain dead.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like it's boring sometimes to play. It's boring to watch for the people. Then you look like King, and it's like, oh, now he's doing this command grab. Then he's doing this one. Oh, now he's doing a mid, but the mids have their own layers, and it's fun to play. It's fun to watch. It's just more conducive to a player experience as well as a viewer experience. Do you see maybe that some of these aspects an NRS fighting game could borrow in the future? And if so, what would it be?
I think they gotta speed up the pace of the game. Like a lot of people talk about like how MK1 has like these sluggish strings and animations, which I definitely agree. There's like when the stress test was first released, I was like playing the game and like I started with Sub Zero and like I saw his 1-2 string and I'm like, this feels like really clunky and looks clunky. And obviously they're not gonna really change the animations because they're already as far into the game as they already are. But I think speeding things up in general would help make the game more visually appealing. It kind of has like an Injustice pace, kind of like Injustice 2. Maybe not that slow because there's dash blocking and stuff, but um, maybe like, and these are like nitpicks for me. Like, I wouldn't necessarily care if they change some of these things or not, but the pace of the game, I think, is like one major thing. Like definitely speed it up. But I know some people say like the impacts and the attacks don't sound all that impactful. Like MK being a game where we're literally crushing skulls and blood is literally all over the walls. Like a punch to the face might just sound like a tap that it just doesn't have like any power behind it, I guess. But like in Tekken, like Kazuya does his God Fist or whatever, and you're about to get blown out of your seat from playing the game. It sounds like.
Yeah, I feel like that's one thing that I know we take it for granted, but Tom, don't you feel like this makes a difference as well? I know it's for the show, but also, like it's for people to know, like, oh, I just did a just ray move, and like this, I did an EWGF, and like the screen is shaking. I feel like MK doesn't have anything like that. This is another aspect where they're underperforming. What do you think?
It can't have anything like it. Um, they scrap the window. They scrap too much and have to rebuild. It's not that NetherRealm has a shorter time than anyone else. It's that everyone else perfects their game over years. Tekken 8 wasn't made in 2.5 years. Tekken 8 was made over 15 years. It just Tekken 5 became Tekken 6, became Tekken 7, became Tekken 8. They added to it, added to it, added to it, added to it, refined it, added to it. This is why it is what it is. They could not have made this game overnight. It took years and multiple games. NRS, 2 years isn't long enough. 2.5 years isn't. 3 years isn't. They just need to keep the same stuff and build on it and hone it and perfect it. It can't change until they change that formula. It will never change. There's just not enough time. There never is. How can there be enough time to change the impact, how the art looks, how the characters look and feel? In MK11, Shao Kahn came out looking like a dragon face because the artist didn't know what Shao Kahn looked like, thought it was Kintaro's face, and drew it. And they didn't have enough time to fix the art. Like, what? You don't have enough time to fix that? How can they possibly implement more advanced systems, better anything, more impactful hits, better? They just don't have enough time, and they never will.
Okay, but this kind of begs the question. So, as MK players, and I think in all of our hearts we are, is there any hope for this series long term?
No, not until people vote with their wallets, because MK1 didn't sell bad. It's not selling badly. For them to get paid in their contracts, bonuses or whatever, it doesn't say must outsell Tekken 8. It doesn't say you better not let Street Fighter 6 over the course of their entire life outsell your sales, right, in the long run. It says you sell a certain amount. You guys at Warner Brothers get a bonus. You guys at NRS get bonuses. Everybody's happy. They made money. They profited. Everybody got their bonus. Next game. It's profitable. No matter what they do, it's profitable. I mean, the stuff they did in the combat cast, and the community still does not want to bury them for it. This patch was awful, and yet people are saying it saved the game. There's no hope, man. Now, if people voted with their wallet, and NRS said, you know what, our two most fan favorite successful games of the NRS era, 9 and X, combine them, take the normals, give them all back to their original characters, no variations, build on it. And then keep that, and then the next game, build on that. Then things will change. Never in time.
Go ahead.
If I may add something,
Yeah, of course.
uh, whenever I criticize like anything, like I try not to be too harsh or anything, obviously, and like that goes back to like talking about the content creators and obviously NRS games from the past and MK1 now, but just throwing that disclaimer out there. But uh, I think a lot of like despite like MK11 and MK1 not being as fun as MK9 or X, a lot of their character designs, like the new Garrus compared to MK11 Garrus, like a lot of their character like designs are really cool, and some have like good foundations, but they just don't feel complete if that makes sense, you know? Like Rain is probably like one of the most beautifully designed, like visually, like characters, like all his effects and stuff, like hearing the water sound effects, like it makes me need to take a piss all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying? Like, 'cause I think like they have um, like a lot of those good things, but when you're playing as them, it's like um, not as good, and like they just a lot of the characters are missing things and are just like watered down, and that like it goes back to the power
Well,
level
was that
thing.
a pun?
But
Franco, was that a pun? Talk about rain being watered down. Was that intentional or?
that one wasn't no.
Okay, okay. No, what
But
I'm
you know what
yeah,
you know what I'm
no, no,
trying to say though,
yeah, I know. Yeah, absolutely.
like
No, Rain is one of my favorite characters. Like, I love Rain. I don't like the way he plays, but like mannerism, his mannerisms, his powers, you know, the way his appearance is super, super cool. Like, he is an amazing character. But gameplay wise, like, what are you people doing? Can you just like please make like a mid-range zoner, maybe like poison or something that uses his powers? Like, what the fuck are you people doing? Why does he have a cancelable over? That's it has nothing to do with the way, in my opinion, he's supposed to play. They do all this nonsense, but again, to to go back to what Tom was saying, how can he play a certain way when he changes fucking every game? The game itself changes every game so drastically. It's hard to come up, with a certain gameplay style. The beauty of Street Fighter and Tekken is that Dawson will always play the same way. Yeah, he's gonna be low tier and high tier depending on on the meta. Kazuya is still gonna do EWF, Hell Sweep, and a mid. He's difficult to use. You gotta be able to move, do all that stuff, but he's still gonna play like that. Sub Zero from game to game, nobody knows. Next game it could be a turtle. This game, Ice Clone is the worst it's ever been. Last game before that, he was a 50-50. It's like, what is going on? Like, why are you guys doing this? Can you please stick to something? And that's the beauty. And that's why people, especially old school players, they go back to play Tekken. They will play their characters whether that character is low.
Lower mid, yeah.
Yeah, it makes no difference, right? Like Chanel, Nee, uh, Anakin, maybe the best example. He's gonna play Jack no matter what. Like that's his character. And Jack has fundamentally played the same way. He'll do a low, he'll do a mid, he'll turtle you out. In this game he's a little bit more offensive. We know that because the game is a lot more offensive. But you get the point, right? And I love watching that. Sub Zero, you have no idea what you're gonna get. No idea. One game he was a Tom Brady character. Next game I don't know what the hell like a Sonic Fox character. Like it's so, like that's so discouraging to me. I hate that stuff. Like, can we have the same for? Can we just have like archetypes? To some, I know that's offensive to NRS, but and they hate that word. That's why they don't want to mention zoning on the podcast anymore. But it's like, can we have something resembling that? Because that's what other games are. Dawson will never be an offensive character. Will never be a command grabber. Will never be a 50-50 character. He's essentially a zoning character. And obviously his offense might be better or worse depending on the meta of the game. But that's kind of what I would like to see. And that's why, to me, we've been begging them for years, build off MK9 and to some extent MKX. I like the run button. I think it's a good thing. But maybe not everybody should be running as fast as Sub Zero. Stuff like that. They would be so interesting to see like how they can adjust the specifics, how they can mold a certain move to be slightly different yet true to the character. Except you have nothing like that. Like Sub Zero and Scorpion, and I'm very passionate about this. I'm sorry about the long rant. Like They're some of the most iconic characters ever, not just in fighting games, literally in gaming in general. But when you play them, they place so MK9's Scorpion is highly 50-50 character, right? But now in MK1 he's like a chip character. Like what? I don't give a damn about the lore, but at some point I think everybody kind of does. It's like I like the felt that these Nether Realmers like Quan Chi and Scorpion, like they're like crazy. They just want to mix you up. They want to do 50-50s because they don't give a damn. I love that. I love that because it's so different, right? Kind of represents maybe the way people are in that realm. But they get rid of everything. I just hate it, man. Because I want this game to be good. I want it to succeed. I want it to be on the same level as Tekken and Street Fighter. But right now, it's like 250 yards away. What do you guys think?
I mean, I don't really care about Sub Zero being a me character or a Sonic character. I mean, he was never a me character. I mean, I've never been an extremely good Sub Zero player in any game, and I totally
Okay,
understand that.
Tom, this is just an ego rant. You got to
No,
stop
and I
that.
totally understand that I don't. I'm not
You
good
got
at
to
the
stop.
game now. No, I'm not. No, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not a big Sub Zero expert in general, but I will say it does. It's not about if he's a me character or someone else character. It's just a matter
It
of
is.
you.
It
It's just
is.
a matter of you can't possibly
It
make the
is.
game. You can't possibly make the game more advanced or at least complete by scrapping everything and rebuilding it from the ground up every single game. It doesn't. That's really, I mean, and that's why these characters do play different, but they're still them from game to game in other games because they don't scrap everything. So they still play like some semblance of them, and with some new stuff, and there are going to be some changes. But overall, the game is more complete. It's more perfected. They can put more in the game because they don't scrap it all, have to rebuild it from scratch. Just that's just MK's flaw. That's why it happens. That's why it happens.
Franco, your comment on this?
Um, um, so it's like the lore stuff you were saying, like I agree with that.
Well,
Like
I know
you're
we were
you're
talking.
judging like their play style based off like their nature and lore and stuff, and like obviously the inconsistencies that some characters play like MK1 Scorpion's definitely like probably the most boring iteration of Scorpion of all the MK games, except maybe MK11. Um, not to like kind of uh go from too far of a different like game, but like I played Street Fighter for the first time since Ed's release recently,
Oh, nice.
the newest character or whatever, and like his design's cool as hell. Like I know it's probably more so rushed down, but like how he brings you in with those little dumb tendrils or whatever, and he
Yeah.
has like that purple projectile, and he could like fake you with a fake projectile, or like I know he's a brand new character and he's not like a legacy character, but like that's a good example of like a brand new character or like just a different type of like I know he's probably rushed down like maybe tiny bit of zoning, but like his design's cool. Like you he's totally different from every other character in the game. Um, but I feel like with MK1, it's just like mostly a bunch of rushdown characters that play pretty similar. And yeah, it would just be nice if they like committed most characters to having like a like typical archetype, like obviously Sub Zero being the turtle play style, Scorpion maybe being, I don't know if they would want him to be like a 50-50 character or like a footsie
That's what I
character,
want.
but
I want to see a 50-50. I want to see 50-50
from
for
Scorpion.
Quan Chi. That doesn't mean that's all they do, but that's kind of that's kind of
That's
what I
how
want.
you envision them.
That's how I envision them. I envision Rain as a kind of like a. I don't want to say full screen. I think that's like a mid range, kind of like he does. The water throws it at you. You have to come in and approach him. But maybe full screen is he's weaker. That's the way I envision it. Whereas I think NRS has no idea what the hell they're doing with some of these characters. Like, I don't know. Next game he does 50-50s. The game after that maybe he has a command grab. I don't know. Like, and you can see this with Raiko, right? Like, did Raiko even have a command? Tom, you would know. Like, did he even have a
No,
commander?
no, no.
Of course he
But
did.
but I guess
Yeah.
what this comes down to, and I guess this is really
Yeah.
where I'd like to close on this because this is the game we're in right now, right? I mean, there are rumors that it's going to be X amount of characters, 14 more characters, whatever.
Oh, and another thing too is they got to stop rebooting the story mode because that's part of why
Yeah,
they
that's a
get
huge
these
problem. Yep.
designs too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
blown up. Yeah.
I guess we'll go with Dave and let Franco close it out. Do you think they're done with MK1 and they're just in, hey, characters out, make some money, next game? Or are they actually going to try to do something to significantly change it? Or are they kind of, you know what, lost cause, characters? I guess that's kind of where I wanted to close here. Just kind of like your final thoughts on this.
Yes. I do want to ask one last question. It's going to be really, really quick after this, if I may. But this is a good. It's good. I think you're 100% right. Their last attempt to actually change the meta, which is super ironic for me and a lot of the people in the FGC that I still talk to, was MKX. They actually tried like rebalancing the way you run and the breaker system. They actually went back and changed some of the overheads, made the mids. That took a lot. I'm sure it took a lot of effort. And to this day, I still applaud him. Was it a fix? Hell no. The game was still super offensive. But they actually tried. You can say they tried. And by the way, that's also the game where they overhauled the entire online. And we know that probably took at least a couple of $1 million. I would like to see something like that. Another at least effort, attempt, whatever other noun you want to use. I would like to see that. So far, I've seen absolutely nothing. Zero, nothing. I know they're capable. Are they gonna do it? No. Is the game done aside from the DLCs? I think you're right. It is. Franco?
I'm a pretty hopeful person, but I hope they support the game as long as they claim to. I think according to Ed Boon on one of his tweets in the past, like I think he said 3-4 years if I'm not mistaken. So I mean, I'm hoping that MK1 is just a late bloomer and like obviously they get all the necessities done first, like fully implementing crossplay, maybe adding in some more game modes so we're not just left with ranked and invasions. They're probably gonna add the story mode expansion at some point. Um, I hope that they do drop a major balance patch. Like they probably won't before Combo Breaker, so hopefully after Combo Breaker they drop a major balance patch.
Franco, can you
Hopefully
give
it's not a
people
bunch.
the date? Can you give people the date of Combo Breaker? Do you know it by heart?
Memorial Day weekend, I think it always is.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know it unfortunately.
Well, Tom. Okay.
Um, Yeah, I hope that if they do drop a major balance patch, I hope it's not a bunch of nerfs. I hope it's mainly buffs, maybe small nerfs to certain things that might be bullshit, like maybe Sento stance just lasts for two. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I think if they maybe like I don't want to say that like so long story short, like I used to make like list of suggestions on Twitter of like in my opinion what would be good changes for characters. Usually they would just mainly be buffs, but um two suggestions I made to Quan Chi, not saying they happened because of me, like I don't know if they saw my tweet when I did post it, which was months ago, but they made his bone cage last longer, which was a suggestion I had. And the hell was the other one? Having multiple portals out was one of them I had, and the other one was the meter burn portal that pushes people away. This change was more obvious, I think. So, like I said, all these could be coincidence, but they made that portal last longer because, in my opinion, it was just too short. So in one of my suggestions, I said it should last way longer because nobody used it before pre-patch. So three of the suggestions I suggested happened. Coincidence or not, I don't know. But if it wasn't coincidence, I hope that they are more open. Like I hope that's a sign that they're more open to constructive criticism. Is what I'm getting at. So I think all of those factors would definitely help them down the line. And sure, maybe it might be a little late, but it's better at some point to have it happen than never, you know?
I think nothing will ever change. I'd like to be wrong. I'd like to be wrong. Online practice isn't even in the game yet, and the game is too
Yeah,
shallow, and
yeah, yeah.
it will never be in because you don't even need it anymore.
The,
It will never be in. The game is too shallow. You don't need online practice anymore. Too late. Too late in the room. Good job. Uh,
yeah, those are just part of the necessities I think they need to address first is adding in all those fully functioning online features and then deal with the balance and all that stuff.
I don't think a single balance change will get made. Maybe tweaks. I think they're done. NRS,
I
as much as I'd
yeah.
like to be wrong here, they will always and have always done the least amount possible. That will never change. It's who they are.
I want to respect Tom Vicious to close out the podcast. I want one quick question, a super quick response, and also I want the guys in the YouTube comments as well as the people on Twitch who are watching. Lord Brady and Command Grab Master Franco. What what's the next thing you want to discuss in the podcast? Like, what do you see this podcast in the future? What do you want to discuss? The people in the YouTube comment need to comment. Please let us know. Because at some point we got to move on and talk about different stuff, not just about the same topics. Franco, you have the first word.
I honestly got nothing on topics to be honest, man. I think maybe having other guests, maybe. But yeah, I have no ideas right now for topics. I apologize.
That's fine. Lord Brady, what say you? It's your channel.
I'd say Tekken, but I don't think people that watch me care about Tekken very much. But maybe some Tekken stuff, or I don't know. Tekken's got a lot of tournaments coming up as well. Could get very interesting. So, I guess leave it up to a vote for the people watching. Um, but outside of Tekken, I just don't know what else to cover. Um, so
Well,
If the, oh wait,
no,
what?
no, no. Go ahead, please.
If this is going on YouTube, I do apologize for my staticky voice from earlier. If that makes the cut. uh,
We'll try to have Tom cut it out. But yeah, that was bad. That
no,
was
I
as
like
bad
it.
as
yeah,
No, I like it. I like it.
that was.
I almost don't want to hear it.
No, I like it.
I'm gonna watch.
People need to hear it now.
Not
Oh
the
So,
fuck!
leader. Yeah,
well,
yeah. Just
thank you.
like
If
the
only I
people.
was.
Yeah,
If if only I was Garrison could reverse time. You know.
only. Well, thanks for joining me, guys. Let YouTube vote on what they want to hear about, and we'll go from there.
I was right. Thanks so much, guys, for watching. Please let us know what you think.